pastor, man, he texted me, what was it, 2 days ago, and said, Nathaniel, you want to speak on the story he knows? And I'm a single father, foster parent. One of my kid's lovely grandmothers is here tonight, and I responded back to him, sure. Didn't think much about it. I was busy being a parent, you know. We work hard, we cook, we clean. Mostly it's usually women, and in our culture, black women that take care of our children. And so being raised by a single black mother, I'm learning how hard it is. And so as I tell you my story tonight, excuse me if I try to fight back emotions that us men usually try to hide and mask. I'm still strong, but I'm human. Ladies and gentlemen, cherished brothers and sisters, today I stand before you as Nathaniel Keyshawn Sawyer, a soul from the heart of Shelby, Alabama, sharing with you the depths of my journey, a journey marked by grief, shock, fear, ultimately resilience. First, I'm going to share the events that caused my grief. My journey traverses the realms of international policy, human trafficking, and the harsh realities of addiction services in correctional facilities. From holding the dying in my arms to cradling the broken souls of the lost, my path has been one immersed in the sorrows of humanity. Yet, my story took a deeply personal turn on August 9th, 2023, my 30th birthday, when my spouse left me, dismantling 6 years of marriage and almost a decade of shared existence. The shockwaves of such a departure were seismic, shaking the very foundation of my being. In the African American community, we share our heart and soul, a tradition embedded in the fabric of our being. But not every culture, ethnicity, race, or religion perspective holds the same belief system. Some people hold their hardships inward until they explode. When my spouse left me, I had a full-time job as a doctoral student, part-time work at UCSF Children's Hospital in Oakland, and became a single foster parent to 2 teenagers. Everything my spouse did fell on my shoulders. Luke 1:37 says, "For with God, nothing shall be impossible." So I will authentically share with you the hardest part of any human being's life outside of losing the one you love to eternal rest. I'll share with you the shock, fear, anger, and grief. The shock gripped me, a cold, paralyzing realization that the person I had grown with, the one meant to share my life, had departed. Fear consumed me, not just of loneliness, but of losing the deep connection we once shared. It's something when you, and I'll say this, Romans 3:23, for all sin and fall short of the glory of God. If you español, por cuantos todos pecaron, destituidos de la gloria de Dios. I wasn't perfect in my marriage. I met my wife when I was 19. Of course, she left me when I was 30. I was a knucklehead. Dad died before I was born. I didn't do drugs, but when you're 19, 20, 21, and before your brain is fully developed at 25, you don't do the best things. Women were my addiction. And I found this light, this woman that was Christian-hearted. I wasn't. I challenged God in every way possible. I was Paul before he turned Christian. My mom tried to get me into church. Didn't work. It's always a good-hearted kid, but there was something about God that I wanted to be the adversary when I was young. I wish I would have been the man I am today, back then. Maybe there wouldn't be so many landmines in our marriage. I wouldn't be sitting alone in our home. Wouldn't be dreaming about my woman. wouldn't be cooking for my kids alone. Anger, often silent and misunderstood, surfaced as a torrent of emotions, stemming from the pain of being gifted a date idea that became a tombstone for our love. My spouse gave me this the day before my birthday. It's supposed to be an idea where you pick a country out of the bottle and you go on to a date. Germany. Let's go find something that resembles Germany. My big mouth, because men, we do have big mouths, and we have a lot of ego, pride too. I thought I was the man. Grow up in a conservative state. You think that it's God, man, woman, but sometimes, most often, y'all should be walking side by side. I admit my wrong. Should have been better. In the words of my friends, doctors, lawyers, pastors, knowing you can see her but not talk, be near her but not touch her, dream of the wonderful memories but wake up alone in your bed. The walks together are now solo. The cooking she provides is no longer part of my family, but I've turned into the chef. Amidst the abyss of grief, I found solace in being a parent to teenagers plucked from the shadows of juvenile halls. I take kids from juvenile hall and place them into my home. I press pause on my clinical PsyD program, redirecting my focus to prioritize my children over personal ambition. Daily journaling became a lifeline, a commitment to walking the talk of a psychologist. I channeled the fire of grief into the written word, birthing a book titled Echoes of Love, Navigating Grief and Growth. Sharing my journey, embracing vulnerability, and turning grief into a transformative force became my compass through the darkest days. Today, almost 5 months later, the pain of loneliness has subsided. Faith and spiritual guidance found within these hallowed walls have replaced the burden of blame. And I'm just gonna be honest with you and go off script. Pastor, get on to me later. I wanted to stay on script so I can do these minutes and sit down and listen to wiser people than I. But I'll be real with you and say that there's all of us in here, if we've all lost someone dear to us that are no longer on this earth. But I think that it's harder when you know that you love someone that you can't talk to anymore, touch anymore, for whatever reason as human beings. Someone continued to bring up grief in a relationship. And I am a clinical PsyD doctoral student, so I just journal, turned it into a book. And I'll be honest with you, if it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be here today talking to you. I'll get over this grief because it's not temporary. It's only temporary. It's not permanent. I know we've all been there. We've all had a relationship that went sour. You still miss the person. Some of us probably still think about them. Some of the times it's pain, it's anger, it's bitterness. And a lot of you sit in here because, a lot of you are overcome it because you have God in your heart. And so I'm trying to get there. Pastor's always trying to get me in here. I'm a scientist. But I feel like God's getting me where I need to be. And I wish her nothing but the best. And I will learn from this experience. And I appreciate y'all for letting me talk.